Richard Michael Alvarez III, and welcome to my movie review show. Now, yesterday we discussed the exquisiteness of the Avengers. Now, if you'll recall, this conversation did not actually happen, but it happened in an alternate universe where I'm British, and we were discussing things like tea, crumpets, and other diddly things known from the British Isles. Anyways, what I'm really here to talk to you guys about is, of course, Iron Man 3. Now, I saw the movie on Friday, and, you know, it's like, it was good, but, you know, there was a few things where I was like, sorry about that camera shake. So, here's the thing. It was good. It was not as good as the Avengers, of course, you know, but, you know, Joss Whedon and the Avengers, that's like, you know, recipe for greatness.
I'll buy that for $1.
Shane Black, good. In fact, I think I like the style that Shane Black has more than Jon Favreau from the first two. And I don't necessarily mean that I like the third one better than the first one. I think the Iron Man 3 is definitely better than Iron Man 2. I think most people can agree with that, because there was, I won't even get into what was wrong with Iron Man 2. Iron Man 1 was still great, so I'm kind of like, I don't know if I like Iron Man 3 better than Iron Man 1, but there was a lot of things about Iron Man 3 that I like more than Iron Man 1. But, you know, I think I really like like, overall I'd say that I really liked the direction of it, and what I mean is, instead of just like, you know, Tony Stark quips and, you know, it's just like the whole movie, and like, you know, there's a few little minor touches of emotion. This movie was more emotion with little tiny quips in it. Like, we got to see a more human side of Tony, and in turn, we got to actually see Tony Stark fighting with his brain and with like his actual body and with guns, rather than 100% of him just fighting only in the Iron Man suit, if that makes sense. And if you've seen the movie, and if you see the movie, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I really enjoyed that kind of rebreather, a refreshness in the series, if you will. It just felt like they weren't retreading on things from the first movies, they were doing some new stuff. Now, that said, there are some problems that people have been talking about, and that I found on my own, of course, too.
I say, the crumpets from Downton Abbey were delicious this fine Sunday afternoon.
The main problem that everyone has with this movie, and if this wasn't a problem in the movie, then it would be a perfect movie. But a lot of people have been talking about the whole Mandarin thing. Now, I gotta warn you, spoiler alert, so you've been warned. The Mandarin is played by Ben Kingsley, who's an English actor famous for playing Gandhi in Gandhi, and also he was in Schindler's List, and other movies, you know, tons of other movies. But the point is, he's English. In the comics, the Mandarin is Chinese. Now, I guess Shane Black said something like, oh, well, I didn't really want to do like a stereotypical Fu Manchu kind of a thing, so we decided not to make him Chinese. Okay, well, if you're going to have your bad guy be the Mandarin and not be Chinese, why even have the Mandarin? And on top of that, the whole thing ends up being kind of pointless, because the Mandarin, played by Ben Kingsley character ends up being a drunk Englishman named Trevor, who's acting the part of the Mandarin. So the Mandarin in the movie isn't even real. He's just an actor playing the part of the Mandarin, so that all of the blame gets shifted to him instead of the real bad guy who's Killian. And then Killian says, I'm the real Mandarin. But in the comics, of course, Killian is a completely different bad guy from the Mandarin. So what did Iron Man 3 do except for destroy the entire character of the Mandarin?
Put that in your theoretical pipe and smoke it.
Now, I admit, I could go all like fanboy rage on this subject for probably hours, but you know, because I'm a filmmaker before I'm a fanboy of comics, I have to say the movie itself was, you know, I'll just say it, I liked it better than the first two Iron Man movies. And I think that it just, as a film, it was better. It had some continuity issues with the comics, which is upsetting because the Marvel Cinematic Universe has done, so far, I feel like, a great job of melding all of these ideas from the comics in such a great way. It's a shame that they did something that I feel is so against the comics, since the Mandarin is like one of the oldest Iron Man villains, and I felt like this was kind of a slap in the face to that. I don't know what they were thinking. Maybe Shane Black thought this was funny. When I was watching the movie and I learned all of these things, I had to disconnect myself from 12-year-old Richie reading Iron Man comics to appreciate that whole thing. And I admit, if you can do that, and not everybody can do that. Some people will just walk out of the theater and get pissed. But if you can do that, if you can disconnect yourself from what you know from the comics, then the whole thing about Trevor being the Mandarin playing the part, it's actually kind of funny. And as a movie, it works. So as a movie, it's great. As an adaptation, though, well, that's up for you to decide. So, it's all kind of, man, a lot of people haven't seen it enough. I've only seen it once, so maybe if I see it again, I'll have a completely different opinion. But for now, I guess I'll say I give it an 8 out of 10. I would watch it again multiple times. And if nothing else, it gets me really excited for Avengers 2 and the upcoming Marvel movies, which are Thor 2 and Captain America 2, and another one that they announced, I can't remember. And then, of course, Ant-Man, which will be the first movie of Phase 3. We're currently in Phase 2 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I say, what's this contraption?
So that's all I have to say about that. I thought I'd just, rant for a minute and put it on Broad to Richard, because, I can. So,
Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a Richard Michael Alvarez review.